Okay, picture this. What if someone built an AI that was so incredibly powerful, its own creators were actually too scared to release it to the public? Well, that's not some sci-fi plot. It's a real thing that just happened at Anthropic, and believe me, they're keeping this thing under lock and key for a very good reason.
That's right. The company Anthropic has literally deemed its own creation too dangerous for a general release. And that forces us to ask a question that's right at the very heart of the entire AI safety debate. So what in the world did they build that's so powerful it has to be locked away? I mean, what could an AI possibly do to be considered that risky? To get to the bottom of it, we've got to understand not just what this thing does, but what it was designed to see. And the answer really is it sees everything. This first section is all about its incredible ability to scan our entire digital world and see flaws that have been hidden from human eyes for decades. Think about your phone or your computer for a second. It's kind of like a digital skyscraper, right? The foundation is the physical hardware. The lower floors are the operating systems and all that deep code. And then way up at the top, that's where you find the apps you use every single day. So this whole structure, this skyscraper, is what we call the computing stack. And for years and years, cybersecurity has basically been human experts meticulously checking each one of these floors for cracks or weaknesses. It's a really slow, really painstaking process. But here's the thing about Anthropic's AI. It doesn't just check one floor at a time. No, it's got something like X-ray vision. It scans the entire skyscraper all at once. We're talking digging through the absolute deepest, most fundamental code, the kernel, which is basically the brain of the operating system, and the firmware, the instructions that are literally built into the hardware. It sees everything, right up to the browser you might be using to watch this.
So what happens when you finally turn this all-seeing eye on the digital world we spent decades building? Well, you don't just find a leak, you unleash a flood.
And I really do mean a flood. The AI didn't just find a few problems here and there, it uncovered thousands of high-severity vulnerabilities. And these aren't just minor bugs. We're talking about serious, critical security flaws that could absolutely be exploited.
And get this, nobody was safe. It found these flaws across every single major platform you can think of. Windows, Linux, Apple's operating systems, Chrome, Firefox. Pretty much the core software that runs our entire digital lives was just shown to be full of holes.
And when we say high severity, this is what we're talking about. These are not just minor glitches. These are the kinds of flaws that can cause catastrophic system failures, what they call kernel panics, and errors that could bring entire networks crashing down. Seriously bad stuff. But among the thousands and thousands of flaws it found, one in particular just sent a massive shockwave through the security community. It was like finding a ghost that had been hiding for a very, very long time. 27 years. Just let that sink in. That's how long one of these critical flaws was just hiding in plain sight. For almost 3 decades, it went completely unnoticed by thousands of human experts. Why? Because our code bases have just gotten too gigantic and complicated for any single person to fully wrap their head around. And where was it hiding? In OpenBSD. Yeah, that OpenBSD. An operating system that is literally famous for being one of the most secure on the entire planet. This is the kind of code that's used to build the firewalls protecting massive, critical networks all over the world. And this AI, it found a crack in that fortress wall that had just been sitting there, silently waiting since the 1990s. Unbelievable. So this one discovery, it points to something so much bigger. Because when you create a tool that can find any flaw, well, you've essentially created a digital Pandora's box. You see, for decades, we've had this whole army of human experts trying to find and patch these holes. But what this AI proves is that despite all that incredible effort, our systems are just riddled with flaws we never even knew were there. And that creates the ultimate double-edged sword. I mean, in the right hands, this tool could be the greatest defense mechanism ever created. It could let us finally truly secure our digital world. But in the wrong hands, it becomes the perfect weapon, a master key that could unlock almost any system on Earth. And that is exactly why Anthropic will not release it. The potential for misuse is just staggering. We're not talking about your email getting hacked anymore. We're talking about a threat to the stability of our entire global digital infrastructure. The researchers who built it said it best. They said this represents a massive shift in how we even perceive digital safety. This isn't just another small step forward. It's a fundamental change in the game.
We now know that deep, critical flaws can go undetected for decades. And we now have a tool that can find them almost instantly. So this is the unsettling reality we're left with. The world's first true digital skeleton key, it's been created. It exists now. And that leaves us with maybe one of the single most important questions of our time. Now that this key is out there, how in the world do we keep our most important doors locked?
All right, let's dive right in. Because what we're talking about today, well, it's a technology that could completely redefine our entire digital world, that has the cybersecurity world absolutely buzzing. And believe me, it's for a very good reason. So I want you to just start with this question in your head, because it is at the absolute core of this entire story. Seriously, what if a single artificial intelligence could find the hidden keys to unlock, well, pretty much any system? Yeah, it sounds like something straight out of a movie, but the reports suggest this is way closer to reality than any of us are comfortable with. And look, we're not just talking about hacking a simple website here. The claims are that this AI can tear through the most fundamental layers of our technology. I mean, the very core of operating systems like Windows and Linux, the firmware that boots up your computer, even the browser you might be using to watch this right now. It can supposedly look at code that's been considered totally safe for decades and find cracks that no human has ever managed to spot.
So the big question is, how is something like this even possible? It's not just about being a better virus scanner or something. It's about a completely different way of finding weaknesses. It's a whole new kind of thinking.
This right here, this slide, really shows you the fundamental shift. For years, all our security tools have been looking for patterns, code that looks suspicious or matches a known threat. It's reactive. But this new AI, it asks a much, much deeper question. Can this entire system, as a whole, be forced to violate its own rules? It's not looking for footprints anymore. It's looking for ways to make this system trip over its own feet. And the secret sauce to all of this is this idea of holistic reasoning. Think about it like this. A human auditor might check the software, right? And another one might check the hardware. But this AI can see how a tiny, seemingly innocent behavior in the firmware could create a massive security hole in a web browser running way up on top of it. It sees the entire chessboard, not just the individual pieces. That's the game changer.
So here's a rough idea of how it might work. First, you've got a large language model at its core that reads and understands code just like a super experienced senior engineer. Then, a reasoning layer maps out every single possible action, every path the logic could take. From there, a hypothesis generator starts asking what if, dreaming up creative attack scenarios. And finally, this correlation engine connects all the dots, finding those invisible threads across the whole system. It's like having 4 different experts all working together at lightning speed.
Now, I know this all sounds pretty theoretical, but there's one specific case study that has everyone talking. Let's get to the proof, because this is where the sheer power of this AI becomes, well, pretty much undeniable. The target they chose was OpenBSD. Now, for those of you who don't know, OpenBSD is basically the Fort Knox of operating systems. It is legendary for its security-first design and its stripped-down, minimalist approach. It is obsessively, and I mean obsessively, audited by some of the best security minds on the entire planet.
And that is the crucial part. We are talking about code that has been picked apart, line by painful line, for decades, by absolutely brilliant people. It was held up as the gold standard for secure software.
And the AI found a vulnerability, a flaw that had survived all of that human brainpower, all of that scrutiny, for years and years. This proved it wasn't just faster than a human, it was thinking on a completely different level.
And here's why this matters so much. This wasn't some simple, obvious bug. The flaw it found wasn't a known pattern. No, it was a complex, logic-based vulnerability that you could only find by understanding how the entire system behaved at once. This was the moment of proof that this kind of AI can reason about security in a way we've just never seen before.
And that proof, well, it leads us directly to the most important part of this entire discussion. A power this great isn't just a tool anymore. It's a weapon. And it's a weapon that cuts both ways. So here you have it, the 2 possible futures, laid out side by side. On one hand, defensively, this AI is the ultimate shield. It could harden our hospitals, our power grids, our banks against attack. But on the other hand, offensively, it's a skeleton key for the entire internet. It can discover an endless stream of zero-day exploits, vulnerabilities that nobody even knows exist yet, and allow attackers to bypass pretty much every defense we've ever built.
This quote from the source material, man, it's chilling, because it's almost certainly true. It suggests that our digital world isn't really secure because it's so well built. It's secure simply because no one has been smart enough to find all the hidden flaws. Until maybe now.
This is so much bigger than just finding more bugs faster. A technology like this forces us to completely redefine what the word security even means in the first place. Just think about that shift for a second. For decades, secure has basically meant, well, we haven't found a flaw yet. In this new world, secure means we haven't allowed an AI powerful enough to look. That is a terrifying new paradigm to live in.
So what does this mean for the future? Well, it means the future of cybersecurity is going to be fought at machine speed. It'll be automated attackers versus automated defenders. Our slow human process of finding a flaw, developing a patch, and deploying it over weeks or months, that's just not going to cut it anymore. Security is about to become a constant, real-time battle between competing AIs.
Which brings us right back to that ultimate question. A technology like this exists, or something very much like it will exist very soon. The choice we have to make isn't if it will be used, but how. Will it become the greatest shield our digital civilization has ever known, or will it be the weapon that brings it all crashing down? That really depends on the choices we all make next.